Hey folks, how you doing? Papa Joe here. Well, that thing sticks. A little refresher course on progressive shifting. Look, progressive shifting's not that hard. Biggest thing that you have to do is you have to learn how to get to know your truck. Every truck's going to be a little bit different. Your weights are going to be a little bit different, so it's going to pull a little bit different. It'll shift out a little bit different. That's why when you talk to any hand that's been out here for a while, they tell you that one of the most important things to truck driving is get to know your truck. It's not uncommon for me the first time that I get in a truck that's new to me, you'd think I was drunk or something, because I'll swerve it. I want to see how it's going to react. I don't do it so stupid that I'm going to wreck or anything, but I want to see. I'll hit the brakes a little bit hard. I'll gas on it. I do different things just to get to know that truck and how it's going to react. Well, along with that, you have to get to know how it shifts. Progressive shifting is taking off slow. That's the easiest way to put it. You see so many drivers out here that want to act like they're at NASCAR and they just got the green light. And they just got to gas on it and go as quickly as they can. That burns up a lot of fuel, and it really affects your fuel mileage a lot more than you realize. And they really ain't done nothing to impress me. Not driving automatic anymore, and I like it. It does get a little bit rough when it's shifting gears. If I go manual on it, I can smooth that out a little bit. I had a buddy of mine following me before I had an automatic. I don't remember what it was. I was driving a dump truck. It was an old Mack. I think it was an 8-speed. And I'd stopped by his place of business, and we had visited a little bit, and we lived out by each other. I headed towards the house in that dump truck, and he was following me, and he wound up calling me, and he said, "Dude, I can't even tell when you're shifting gears." Well, you're not supposed to. He says, most trucks, you follow them, you can tell when they're shifting gears. And I just can't tell. I was trying to tell when you was shifting gears. And that is the proper way to shift gears, is where nobody even knows it. If I remember correctly, and it's been a few years since I played with it, I think around 12 or 1300 RPMs, you can shift. Now, as you start getting into the upper range, you're probably going to wind up pushing that up just a little bit to 14 or 15. But taking off, you don't have to put it up there to 16 or 18 and grab third gear. You don't have to do it. That's hard on the truck, transmission, and your back eventually. So now don't let me lead you wrong. Get to know your truck. And try shifting out a little bit slower, which should make you have to shift out a little bit faster. Meaning, if you're trying to keep them RPMs down, you might have to shift, well, you will have to shift out from 4th to 5th a little bit faster than if you're building them RPMs way up. It is a slower takeoff, but it will save you fuel. Play with it a little bit. It's just that simple. A lot of people have trouble downshifting. Downshifting, right before you get ready to shift, you build your RPMs up. That's why they have you double clutching. If you can learn how to double clutch, which I don't understand why people have trouble with that, but if you know how to double clutch, you're doing the same thing when you're floating your gears and downshifting. I won't even start on the floating the gears yet. Rev them RPMs up a little bit. You come out of that hole, you rev them up again and rev them up pretty good. Then you slide into the next hole. There was the Super 10 that I actually had to run with it on my Jake brakes on low because it wouldn't drop fast enough. I kept messing up, and I wasn't real green. I was still a little bit green. I'd been out here 4 or 5 years, and I was just having a hell of a time with that Super 10. Old man got on the... They just came out then too, matter of fact. So there wasn't too many of them out there, and most drivers couldn't even give you a clue what you needed to do. This old man got on there and he said, son, put your Jake brakes on low. Your RPMs are not coming down fast enough. Put your Jake brakes on low. And then when you shift out, it's going to bring it on down. He said, now it's going to bring it down pretty damn quick too. And it did. But that worked out good for me. Just a little bit of advice from some old trucker. That's the kind of stuff that you have to learn with your truck. And that's the whole thing. None of us out here can tell you how to drive my truck and it worked perfect for your truck. Your biggest thing is get to know your truck. 30 years ago, maybe a little bit more. Well, let's see, little Joe is 34, I think. And so, yeah, it would have been almost 30 years ago. My ex-wife was taking some college. And she was taking psychology, I think it was. And she had to read a book, and she was not much of a reader. I like to read it. And the book was Grapes of Wrath. Good book. I was only going to speed read it a little bit and help her write her report. And I wound up reading the whole book. It was a good book, a lot better than the movie. Most books are better than the movie. But in that book, they had just left their farm and converted their car into a truck. And they was heading for California. And this is what makes books better, because they go into great detail. But they're talking about him listening to that truck with his hands. So on the steering wheel, he's feeling for anything. With his feet on the floor, he's feeling for any vibrations or anything. With his butt in the seat, with his ears, his eyes. So he was becoming one with that vehicle so that he would know anything odd that it does. And that's what you got to do out here pretty much. You need to be one with your truck. You need to know your truck. Now today, leaving Houston, I went to pass a flatbed, and he had left his tire gauge back there on his trailer. Now there's two things. One is, it turns out he didn't have a radio. But number two, I got up beside him, I'd passed him, and I backed out of it, and I'm pacing him, and I hit the city horn. He don't know. I hit it a couple times. He don't know. He's talking on his phone. I end up hitting the air horn to get his attention. And like I said, he didn't have a radio, so I couldn't tell him. But my point is he wasn't paying attention to his surroundings. He wasn't paying attention to me. Me honking should have got his... Well, first off, me going passing him by half my truck length and then backing out and pacing him, he should have been looking at me and what in the world is this guy doing? No, he was just talking on his phone and going down the road. That's the stuff that'll get you in accidents, and that's the reason that we have some of the laws we have. I had one individual got on here quite a while back and said it was all us old dinosaurs running all the hours we wanted and heavy as we wanted and fast as we wanted. We was the cause for all these new regulations. Well, first off, we ain't had no new regulations to speak of in quite a while. And that's the skillet calling the kettle black. Because the newer drivers out here, like that one today, they have their own issues. He was not paying attention to his surroundings, didn't have a clue what was going on around him. He was just focused and going down that one lane talking on his phone. But at least it was in the right lane. But anyhow, you got to get to know your truck. You get to know your truck, it'll help you a lot. As you get to know your truck, try to shift out at lower gears without getting all the RPMs. If you're heavy, yes, you're going to have to gouge on it more and all that. Get to know your truck. It will tell you what to do. If you'll listen, it'll tell you. Don't worry about the gauges. Listen to that truck and feel that truck, and it will tell you what to do. It'll tell you when to shift. But that's your progressive shifting. So, a little update. You're welcome. So, with that, I'm pretty much shot out. I'm fixing to go to bed. Y'all remember, God loves you, and so do I. Have a blessed evening now. Good night.